Tim, do you want me to do a ping live stream?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to ADHD Engineering stream. It's Friday at 1 o'clock Pacific time for me and David. That's David right up there. Say hi, David.
Hi.
We have some other friends in our Discord channel in the CAD team meeting room. We will be working on our two projects right now. One, which is our demo SolidWorks project, which is the music box, the Wintergatan music box, which we're going to make a better version of. It started as just a thought experiment for having a project to get used to SolidWorks, and we're still using it for that. But the more we work on this, the more I actually want to build this for real. So it may not just be a thought experiment. And then we are going to be going and basically making the skeleton a really nice parametric model that we that we can hopefully go through a whole redesign process for the Marble Machine X for the touring version, and it can be a robust model that can handle a bunch of edits, a bunch of different ideas, and it'll be the model that we use to manufacture the touring version. So that is that. Let's make sure I've got Discord going. I do. Let's make sure we have comments are up. Tom, if you want to ping the live stream channel, that would be great. I don't know how to do that. I don't know if I'm supposed to be doing that or not, but I just post in that thing. That would be sweet. Other change from this week to last is that last week I had it on ultra low latency. I was trying to make it so that the delay with the comments and everything on YouTube was super low, but it wasn't that. Thank you for that. I'm going to turn down my mic a little bit. Anyway, so I upped it to low latency, not ultra low, and maybe that will reduce the buffering that we had last week. So I'm going to turn this down even more. All right. So let's dive in. So on the screen here, I have last week we went through and we were just kind of struggling with the bookmarks, but I think I figured it out. And I've fixed all the bookmarks. We had gone through, me and Andre and Maureen and a few other people had tried to kind of figure this out. And we had made a bunch of bookmarks and they were all in the wrong place and they were just wrong. And so now what we have is I came through and cleaned it up. So when you come into the platform here, we have a set of bookmarks. We have the MMXT and we have the Music Box project, and these are all totally nestable. What's weird is that SolidWorks calls this their bookmarks manager, but really like they intend that this is the way that you browse your files. It's not just for making your bookmarks, which is kind of what it's talked about, the bookmarks editor. But if you come in here, you will find this is our root level assembly, and then this is I guess this, I don't know, CAD family and physical product. We still don't understand the difference between those two. And then via the new PBS system, I basically set up all of our bookmarks in a folder format that same way. So when you go into the base, you have the blades, the crankshaft, the flywheel system. And so we'll be able to just make parts. We will bookmark them with where they are. The system will store them as flat, but it'll add these bookmarks. And then we'll be able to assign unique part numbers to them. There's actually a part numbering system built into the platform. And so we will have unique identifiers on each file and each component, and we'll know exactly where it is. And I think for Martin's benefit, if he wants to find a part, this is probably the easiest to navigate version of his system ever. I didn't put in the next level assemblies, so this is where you would have sub assemblies. So I didn't fully populate that, but that's kind of where we're at. And so I've done that now for the MMXT and for the Music Box. So, and if you look at Music Box, since we have already designed the Music Box like 3 or 4 times, there's already a bunch of content in here. Oops. And it's loading again. I accidentally clicked on something. What did I do? What did I do, David?
No idea.
I changed my what did I do? I changed my somehow changed
your dashboard.
The workspace that I'm in. So where is my roles, my favorite apps?
You can't just go back.
I guess I could. What did I just do? So this is normally like your dashboards. You know what I can do is I can go and just load it from that dashboard from my save. See how it's just 3D. I don't know how the navigation is still difficult for me.
Okay, so if you look at the compass, you'll see 3 lines with an arrow pointing to the right, just to its lower left. Not of the compass. It's in the top left corner. It's that big blue. All right, left of that. That's your list of dashboards.
That's not over here. See on that tab?
Yeah, weird. So you closed. Wow.
Yeah. Who knows? Write that on the list for Sean. How do you navigate dashboards?
Oh yeah, wasn't Sean supposed to be here today?
Yeah, but I failed to connect with him and iron out the time, so I'm hoping I can get it next week.
Okay.
So, all right. So we can go over here. We can go to bookmarks editor, and that is really your your file browser, essentially.
Yeah. So that's what it looks like you're trying to do, is just replicate files,
right,
and folders. Or that's what I meant to say, folders.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how else you're supposed to do it. But anyway, so then let's see, where is I have in this thing, if I can sort this by creation date. And that's in the wrong direction. Music box R4. I'm gonna open this guy. All right. Tom is saying the Wilson ping is in the CAD doc copy and paste command to ping enthusiast. Information. Okay, I'll figure that out later. Update later. So it should just show up in my SolidWorks. There it is. Yay! So this is, before we did this with the layout and we did it with blocks, I did this last night just as a single sketch for the sake of getting something on board. I was able to, and actually, David, I think I know what the problem was why we couldn't do a belt. I'll get to that. But essentially, I just laid it out all as one sketch. And I was able to put in the motors. There's more dimensions here than are absolutely necessary. But it's basically there. So what I'm going to do today is do a little bit of make the major part subassemblies, make some parts in those subassemblies, and then look at how we can save them and see if we can save them. I know there's blue lines. I finished this at midnight last night, so they won't all be blue forever. There's my origin. And we'll try to save them and make sure that we're actually kind of using this thing the right way. So I'm just adding in random things here without parameters for now.
I think that's probably a good practice to get into, to add those global variables while you make them.
Right.
I mean, it just means you're going to have a whole lot of work later. Even if you change the values, all you've really done is save it as an index to that value, which you can change, and you don't even have to go to equations to do it. You can do that right from the viewport like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to keep it fast for the sake of a streaming audience for now. So we will do that. I was able to put in this belt. The reason we couldn't do it last week is that not only do the pulleys in the belt system have to be blocks, but each pulley has to be a different block. That was the order on that.
I told you that.
Well, that's not how we were doing it. That's why it wasn't working. It's not.
What do you mean?
Well, you might have told me that, but when we were trying to make a pulley and it wasn't doing it, we didn't have each pulley be a different block. That's why that didn't work.
You were working on them having be the same, like you added both of them to a single block?
I think that's what we did last week, yeah. That's why it wasn't working.
Be careful about saying we. I would have never done that.
Right. Well, anyway, I'm saying I figured it out, and it was something I had done, which is...
Got it. Okay. Well, it's great. You got a belt now. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So
another thing I would be cautious about is how much stuff you put in the outline. It's already pretty stuffed full of stuff.
Right.
Like you're actually modeling things, instead of just positioning them.
I know. I'm just trying to get it right because at this point, what I'm trying to do is get to the point where we can start putting in sub-assemblies, and this is the point, and this is kind of the conversation we were starting to have earlier, David, which is about designing a machine that has multiple sub-assemblies, and why. Right. Doing that in SolidWorks is so much different than doing it in Fusion, right? Because there is this level of comfort that Martin has with Fusion, and I do think he's worried that if we move this project to SolidWorks, he's not going to understand it, he's not going to be able to access it. But the way that Fusion basically doesn't differentiate between assemblies and parts, the way it blends different assemblies and parts, like if you do it like if you're modeling multiple parts in a sub-assembly and they're mixed up in their own different timelines, you'll have this part have a few features, and then there's a sketch which is in this part, but then you make a new component from it, and now that component is it's a mess. And so I want to be able to show what we're doing here is working with multiple sub-assemblies in one thing, switching between them, and see if we can do that as seamlessly as I think we can. So I'll give you wrong or rewrite. So let's jump in. And so if we go to the bookmarks that I made for this thing, we have the box frame, we have the control electronics, we have we have a generic category for hardware, which is for fasteners and stuff. The paper wheel, the playhead, the pulling mechanism. So I'm going to make some of these assemblies all at the same time. We can edit them interchangeably, hopefully. And then we will put a couple parts into those assemblies and then look at the saving process and see if it's a pain in the ass or not, or if we're doing it wrong. You object to any of that, David?
Not necessarily. I think it's kind of strange that you already have bookmarks for things you haven't made yet.
Well, I'm trying to organize it. Right.
Okay.
And actually, you have to do it that way because when you save it, if you're gonna apply the bookmark, it needs to already be there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh man.
So
I'm just thinking about innovation comes from experimentation, right? And if you if you decide in advance what a part number is for something that doesn't exist yet, you're just following through with like housekeeping as you build something, right? Instead of actually, thinking about different ways of doing stuff. That's all. And I think that that's one of the reasons the PBS is like, I don't want to get into a philosophical discussion about this, but I just think that it's too early for that, even now.
Right.
That's my personal opinion.
Yeah. Well, but the MMX is already something that has been built, right? At least once. So,
not really. It's still being, it's definitely still being prototyped.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah,
that's just how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I've never really heard an argument that's strong enough to change my mind.
Yeah, you're fully entitled to that opinion. Paper puller, paper wheel, sound module. What else should I put in here for now? Assembly, and I'm going to put in the body. All right, now we're going to get a few different parts in each of, or at least one part in each one. So I'm going to edit that assembly, insert components, new parts. We're in the paper puller. So this is going to be the drive wheel, the drive cylinder. All right, is it going to show up?
Well, you're already editing it. It's
No, it's waiting. I inserted a new part into the subassembly. So there it is. So now I have to edit that. Edit part. Oh, let's do the I need to float this thing and
yeah, you can't do that with it open. You have to close the edit component.
Yeah, oh, I see. Come on. That weird bug with, because I have this on the smaller of the two monitors, is kind of a pain. All right, I'm gonna forget about doing that for now. I'm gonna edit that component. Yeah, that's fine. All right, so I'm gonna sketch on the front plane. And I'm going to convert that guy and give it a hollow shaft, extrude it, and it's going to be mid-plane. By the way, we're going to be ending the stream a little early. We're not going to be full 2 hours. I have a 2:30 appointment. 72 millimeters wide. Millimeters.
You going to the dentist?
Huh? No, I run this business incubator, and I have, for some reason, I think it's maybe like when SBIR grants and things happen or whatever, or maybe it's just springtime and people are starting companies in the spring. I don't know, but I have to show new people my space.
Cool.
Yeah. So, all right. So that's a drive roller. We're gonna call it good enough. Again, I'm just trying to get parts in here, right? Paper wheel, let's edit this subassembly. And now that we're editing that, we're going to insert a new part. And this is going to be the sidewall. Wait for that to load up. So Yarn's asking why do you make the different subassemblies first instead of just putting all the parts into the main assembly and then afterwards creating subassemblies? That is a good question, Yarn. I don't know.
You don't know why you're doing it?
I think I don't know why I'm doing it that way. I think I forgot that you can do that.
Yeah, you can.
Because you can't do that in Fusion.
You can't?
No. You can't. I mean, you can take a body and export it as a part, and then you can insert, files that have subcomponents into another component, and so you end up with these kind of things. But it's really not the same.
So my approach, which by the way does not exist in this version of SolidWorks Connected, is actually to design the entire thing as a part, a single component, and then doing a save bodies feature to create the assembly, and then applying mates, all that stuff. But that does not exist in SolidWorks Connected, or at least not in this version of SolidWorks Connected. So we can't even do it like that. That's my preferred method. But then again, I'm also designing, or at least I was working with stuff that you talk about 2 mold halves and a bunch of clearance features for fasteners and stuff. We're not talking about like a machine like this.
Right.
So anyway,
no. Here's a weird thing. Look, so my layout sketch disappeared. I don't see it. I ran into this the other day.
I don't understand. What do you mean disappeared?
So I'm in the main assembly, right? I've zoomed all the way up to the main assembly here, right? This sketch disappeared as soon as I made one part that was referencing it, but it's actually showing as visible here.
Well, you turned off visibility on almost everything.
Where?
Click that eye again. Click the eye again.
Yeah, but see, these are grayed out. Like, I don't know why it's doing it now.
Because you click the eye like I told you to.
Oh, you can actually click the eye. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a button. Okay. Another
thing
that's
toggling.
Solved.
Yeah, so that's toggle visibility is what that button is.
Okay, so Jorn is just is saying the same thing, but with. Yeah.
What?
So Jorn's saying the thing you're doing now is creating a lot of external references, which will be a pain if you ever change the layout sketch.
Yeah, he's absolutely right.
So yeah, that's okay. Well, I'd be interested to see. I'd be interested to see the how it does break. Because I mean, the point is that I'm trying to treat this like a much larger, like it was the MMX, right? Where we want to make sure that we're going to have a bunch of sub assemblies in the MMX. They're going to be 8 or 9, I think, and each of them are going to have multiple sub assemblies in them, right? So I'm trying to just, I know I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be, but I'm trying to break it, right? Or am I not? I mean, am I doing something here that we wouldn't be doing in the MMX?
I mean, I didn't want to stop you while you're designing stuff.
Oh, I'm on a roll, baby.
But I've already explained, like, creating bookmarks in advance. So you're. I mean, the way I would model this, I wouldn't name anything. The entire model would be part 1, part 2, assembly 1, assembly 2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, until you say, "Hey, I like this thing. It's done. Let's start naming stuff." And then that's when you apply all of the bookmarks. That's when you apply all the things, because I don't know. It's almost like looking at housekeeping as your prime objective, when really what we're trying to do is make a machine.
Yeah, I mean that's not an unfair assessment, but this is a project that is, we're going to have people who are just doing housekeeping on this project,
right? So let them do that. That's what I'm trying to get at.
You have to pave the way, right? I mean, don't we? Maybe we don't. I just don't want to get into this and say, "Hey, we'll do that later," and then just like we did in phase 1, say, "Oh man, we should have done that up front." You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it, but I think. So I guess we're kind of having a philosophical conversation.
This is okay. It's Friday in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We can have philosophical.
I think you have your priorities exactly backwards. So, like, you're worried about naming stuff and bookmarking it when it doesn't even exist yet, but you're not creating global variables as you model. And I think that literally that is a much bigger priority.
Well, no. So I hear you. The only reason I'm not doing that is because we've done like three live streams about naming global variables, right? So the things that I'm experimenting with today are not. I don't want to spend a lot of time in this stream naming variables. That's all, right? I want to do. I want to do as much of the boring stuff off screen, and then be trying on new things and breaking them on screen. That makes sense? Just you're gonna have to trust me that we're gonna go back and do it right.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think we have a really boring stream. All right, so I'm gonna make. How many spokes should this guy have? I'm gonna make. This is gonna be 24 is a good number. Yeah, why not?
There you go.
And I love how this thing doesn't automatically. They don't automatically center themselves.
Yeah, so I've noticed that myself. I get in the habit actually of just taking one, dragging it out of the way, and then that it moves that center point to some other location.
Yep.
And then I use that. I use a relation to locate that center point. what did you do to do that? I wasn't watching just now.
So I just constrained them to this construction line, which I already had. So, 3 points define a line. The first one is there, by the first iteration of the pattern is there. I just grabbed 2 others and constrained them to the line. I tried dragging out, doing exactly what you said, dragging it out and trying to recenter it, but I was having a hard time grabbing the center. So I just did it that way.
If you change your mind on that number, though, you're going to lose those references.
Shouldn't, because that circle is still right. Oh, you're right.
Yep.
If I go, you're right. You are. I should have done the first 3 iterations of it. So I'm gonna offset this. What is 72? It's 38 millimeters away, and it's going to be 3 millimeter wide. And select contours. That's not what I wanted.
What are we doing here?
I'm trying to make this.
It's gonna have holes in it now. Look at the preview.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it doesn't.
Oh, that's weird. What?
It's supposed to.
Are you selecting the right sketch? Wait, what are you extruding?
Oh, that's a good question. Clear selections.
Okay, so this is another argument I have against doing selecting contours.
What the hell?
Essentially, you want the entire sketch to be extruded, right?
Yeah.
So select the sketch. Don't select the contours. So you want to close the sketch and then just like extrude the sketch. You're still in the feature though. You can't edit the feature you're still in. So I would just delete that feature.
Come on. Yes.
And then extrude the sketch, not sketch contours.
Got it.
But it looks like you have a closed profile there, though. You do. What's up with the circle? In fact, you have 2 closed profiles. You have 2 closed profiles in there that you don't need. Those should be construction. Or actually, why do you even have them in that sketch, actually?
Well, because there's going to be a flange around the paper where the paper's going to roll up, and the paper's not going to be totally external to the wheel like Martin had it. There's actually going to be a lip. It's going to be like a flanged pulley.
I get it, but you're extruding the connector bars, right?
This is the side wall. There's going to be some spokes in here eventually.
Wait a second. Okay, let me back up a second. So you're trying to extrude what exactly? The wall, the circle.
The side wall. Let me help you out a little bit. I'm going to add in the fun geometry that we all like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I see what you're doing. So you're trying to do something that I've seen a lot of people do on this project, and that is multi-purpose sketches, right? Where you're trying to have a single sketch, but doing like 8 different things.
Yeah.
So that's a really bad idea.
Oh, come on. It's not that bad of an idea.
It's a bad idea. Because, I mean, look what you're struggling to do, right? Like, a rule of thumb is, first of all, if it can be a feature instead of something you have to do in a sketch, make it a feature, right?
Yeah, but why would I have another sketch and another extrude just for making those slots?
Well, that's the thing. You're really making a thing with a bunch of features in it, right? So you're making a disk. That should be a sketch. And you're cutting a bunch of holes.